him that he's got bad mental health. And actually, you can do that. You can have a person in your life who tries to drown you and make everything awful. And she hasn't tried to make him better.
Prince George will attend Eton College this September. One sentence, released at exactly noon. There was no press conference, no exclusive interview, and no carefully managed media rollout with friendly journalists pre-briefed the night before. Just a stark, unembellished fact delivered plainly, standing entirely on its own without explanation or spin. It is the exact same school his father attended, the same school his uncle attended. A thread of continuity running back through generations of this family, communicated in the same quiet, understated way the institution has always handled the things it considers most important. Briefly, without ceremony, as though the true significance of the moment should be completely self-evident to anyone paying attention. But beneath this calm surface lies a fiercely calculated contrast, a silent chess match between two completely opposing worlds where the final card is about to be played, and the consequences will reshape the royal family forever. Welcome to Palace Insider, where we pull back the curtain on the subtle power moves, shifting alliances, and unspoken tensions defining the modern monarchy. Tonight, we are dissecting what happens when you place that single, minimalist sentence from Kensington Palace side by side with a very different kind of announcement that landed in the exact same 7-day window. It was a story in People magazine, fed by unnamed insiders and timed with evident purpose, explaining that Prince Harry would attend the upcoming Invictus Games entirely alone, while Meghan, Archie, and Lilibet would not be joining him. The reason given consisted of those same two words that have been deployed in so many different contexts, applied to so many different absences and decisions, that they have started to function less as a specific, verifiable explanation and more as a general-purpose shield to questions nobody wants to answer directly, security concerns. When you look past the headlines, this sudden convergence of news reveals a much deeper, more troubling reality. We are going to examine the pointed, unsettling claims made by veteran royal biographer Angela Levin regarding Harry's current state of mind and what she alleges has happened to his relationship with the people he grew up among. We will look at the heavy questions surrounding Archie and Lilibet, contrasting their heavily managed childhood in California against the traditional upbringing unfolding at Windsor. But most importantly, we will uncover the one irreversible thread that connects all of it, a ticking clock that measures King Charles's remaining time with his grandchildren, representing a window for connections that, once missed past a certain point, can never be remade from scratch. To truly understand the depth of this divide, we have to start with that Eton announcement, because the way it was handled tells you something far more critical than the content itself. The palace released that single sentence at noon with absolutely zero prior briefing to journalists the night before. There were no planted stories in friendly outlets establishing context, no background briefings giving selected reporters the chance to frame the announcement favorably, and no exclusive interviews with sympathetic publications to accompany the news. There was no explanation of what Eton means, why George is going there, or what it represents for the future of the monarchy. It stood entirely on its own, completely stripped of the public relations apparatus that modern public figures typically deploy when they desperately want the world to perceive them in a specific light. The decision for George to attend Eton carries enormous symbolic weight, mirroring the paths of his father and uncle, anchoring the future king to the historical bedrock of the institution. Yet, it was treated as a private family decision that the public was being informed of briefly and without ceremony. Now, compare that to the way news about Archie and Lilibet routinely arrives. The stories appear via anonymous insiders, precisely timed to correspond with moments when public attention is focused heavily on the working royal family, whether it is a garter ceremony, a trooping the color balcony appearance, or a major announcement from the Prince and Princess of Wales that would otherwise completely dominate the global conversation. The content is meticulously calibrated to generate a specific emotional response from a specific audience. The anonymous sourcing is unyielding. These are not just two different communication philosophies. They are entirely opposite worldviews operating in the same space. One side treats major life milestones as quiet, institutional facts, while the other appears to treat private family information, including information about young children, as content to be packaged, timed, and deployed for maximum narrative impact at moments of their own team's choosing.
You can't trust her. If she can take any word, she might use it, she might spend it somewhere, she could be paid something because she heard something they said that would be very helpful for her, to talk about it or do a film about it or do something about it. I think you can't trust her.
As her clout dwindled, as people lost interest in what she and Harry had going on, she was going to move to the next generation. That was the final card she had to play, Archie and Lily.
There's a question that's been floating around the royal family story for years, whispered behind closed doors, almost never said out loud in public. What are Archie and Lilibet actually being told? About their grandfather, about the country they were born into, about the cousins they've barely met and the family they've barely had a chance to know. Angela Levin, the royal biographer who spent more real, meaningful time with Prince Harry than almost any journalist out there, has started to answer that question. And the answers are more uncomfortable than most people are ready to hear. This isn't about a diplomatic standoff or a legal fight over security arrangements. Those are just the surface. The real story is about two children, a 7-year-old boy and a 5-year-old girl, being raised inside a version of their family that has been carefully and deliberately edited by one person, and about a grandfather who is 77 years old, fighting serious illness, who hasn't held those children in any real, meaningful way in years. When Angela Levin talks about this, she doesn't sugarcoat anything. No careful diplomatic language, no hedging. She says what she's observed and what she believes straight up. And what she said this week was remarkable, because buried inside a conversation touching on Harry, on Meghan, on the Trooping the Colour Week, the Garter ceremony, and the jaw-dropping news about George heading to Eton Levin said several things that deserve to be looked at slowly and carefully, not just skimmed for a headline and forgotten, because what she said changes the shape of the whole story we've been watching.
I think as far as the king goes, he's now calmed down from really wanting to see these children and really wanting to see Harry, because Harry's behaved so badly and they can't stand Meghan. So if they would get her, if they got the children, they would probably have to have her. And I think it would be too difficult. And I think it was be too hard for anyone to be pleasant at any time.
And it raises specific questions about
Prince Harry reportedly wants Archie and Lilibet to grow up more like William and Kate's kids. The irony here is wild. Because wasn't the entire point of the freedom flight to escape royal life? Now suddenly Harry's homesick because George, Charlotte and Louis are all out there having wholesome countryside childhoods, playing cricket, petting dogs and looking like a Ralph Lauren ad? Meanwhile, Harry's in Montecito, allegedly realizing his kids are missing cousins, family traditions, and actual stability. I don't blame him. I'd miss all that too. Family's everything, unless you're Meghan Markle. And apparently he wants them educated in the UK now too, which should make for a fun conversation considering Meghan reportedly thinks boarding school is barbaric. So let me get this straight. They left the monarchy, trashed the monarchy, made documentaries about leaving the monarchy, only for Harry to now be like, wait, maybe the monarchy did have some perks. Maybe I did screw the pooch after all. What have I done?
A new picture has emerged of the children. Is this just a way to sort of try and distract from all of the great stuff that Catherine is doing? What do you make of it?
Well, it could be that they're thinking now of introducing them to the country, because people have made a lot of fuss about that, and there's been a lot of guesses at where are the children, they're not here, she hasn't got them, and perhaps they're very slowly going to do this. Maybe people thought it might bring the children to the Invictus Games next week as a surprise. I don't think that's possible. And those two little children we see in the photograph aren't really the same as the children that we see from behind. They're not. The little one, Lilibet, on the left, I mean, she's not that big, but in the photograph where you see Harry holding out his arms to catch her, she's taller than Archie and long curly hair. She looks a very little girl there. I don't know why people would they might want to choose something which shows them when they were much younger. But everything they do is a mystery because they don't want to come clean. They just want to make themselves talked about, and the rest will follow.
I know, but there has been a lot of speculation about this image, Angela, and it's really fascinating you saying that something doesn't add up for you with it, because people have looked really closely. And for example, there's some suggestion that Lilibet's teeth are not natural in that photo, for example. Now, why would you Photoshop a picture of your young daughter in that way? It's very bizarre.
Well, they are bizarre. I mean, Meghan is bizarre. I don't think we can suspect anything else. But the little Archie doesn't look like he looks from behind either. But maybe they're just doing it for fun. And yes, there we are. There's a good picture that you see. She's not
which was
that
the one on the
little
front
tiny
of the
girl.
card, of course.
Yes. But you can make a judgment of how large a child is if you see their face. And this little girl is actually, she's got quite a big face and she's quite a big girl. Whereas the one on the front of the card is not like that. But maybe she just wanted to take a picture that she really liked and thought was very funny, have a hand on her face, and they were just laughing. That's what they chose to do. And I think it quite obviously that the people who put it on the table wouldn't have done that without Meghan giving them the okay.
Prince Harry may be bringing Meghan, Archie, and Lilibet back to the UK next month. And Buckingham Palace reportedly has a room waiting for them. According to reports from Hello Magazine, the Duke and Duchess of Sussex have been offered accommodations at a royal residence during their visit for the 2026 Invictus Games. The offer has reportedly been made before and declined. But this time, the conversation appears to be back on the table. The bigger issue still remains: security. The report says no final security arrangements have been made, and the matter is still tied up with the Home Office. That has been the central concern for Prince Harry for years, and the reason family visits to the UK have been limited. What makes this visit so significant is the possibility that Archie and Lilibet could spend time in the country their father was born. Archie has not been back to the UK since 2020, and King Charles has never met Princess Lilibet in person. However, there is no confirmation of a meeting between Harry and his father. Still, they did spend time together during Harry's visit to London last year, which showed that communications remain open. At the end of the day, this story is about family. It's about grandparents and grandchildren. It's about whether enough progress has been made to create an environment where Harry feels comfortable bringing his wife and his children back to the UK. The Invictus Games are already going to be a major moment, and the possibility of a family visit alongside it makes the story even bigger. And that's the read. If you like your tea hot, share it, save your seat, and follow for more. This is the Notorious JTB, Notoriously Opinionated, signing out.
A lot of stories coming out about Prince Harry yesterday, but I wanted to highlight this one. It's Angela Levin, Camilla's official biographer, and she says, Prince Harry's swift exit proves we've lost him and we'll never get him back. Now, my first reaction when I read that headline was, yeah, no shit. The writing was on the wall before Harry even met Meghan. He's found success outside of the royal family. I don't think he'd ever go back. Angela said she thought that this ceremony would have made him think, what an amazing family with all their faults I've been a part of. And of course, she blames Meghan. She writes, there's no going back for him as long as Meghan is around. But literally in the same article, she says she should have been there for his sake, even if she didn't like it. Like, what do you want? You say you don't want her there, but she should be there. She then writes, I can't see how Harry would have taken that easily. It must have been a very stressful event for him with everyone watching his every move. And why would he want to subject Meghan to that? Why? She ends the article saying that when he walked into the Abbey, he looked like he was showing clear signs of stress. This guy looks stressed. He looks like the only one having a good time. He smiled, he held his head high, he chatted with family members. I also want to say, this is the only story Angela wrote yesterday. Camilla's official biographer only wrote about Harry. People have moved on from Harry, she says, writing an article about Harry on the coronation day.
I'm extremely confused with what I've just heard regarding Prince Harry and Meghan Markle, and I really do not understand this. Richard Eden reports that sources close to Meghan Markle and Prince Harry have told the Guardian newspaper that they want their kids to have the option to be full-time working royals in the future. Richard then states that everyone at the palace and royal officials are completely gobsmacked, rightly so. Since they left their royal duties, Meghan and Harry have done nothing but complain about how terrible life in the royal family was for them. Richard makes a good point. Meghan talked about how royal life made her suicidal, and Harry talked about generational trauma. Now they're wanting this option for their children? If it was that bad, why would you want this for your kids? Do we think this is all about the money, 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 and all the commercial opportunities that come with their children?